Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Hollywood Matt Connelly with the double biceps. It is in the contract and legal requirement every single time we appear on camera, just keeping the lawyers happy. Here to tell you about the AWE Grand Prix tournament, which will be taking place on April the 13th. An absolute stellar lineup. We've got 8 of the top arm wrestlers in Australia and New Zealand coming over to compete in this double elimination tournament. I'm very excited about this tournament because we've got some of the best guys going up against each other, and it's going to answer some questions. We've seen some of these guys over the last couple of years that have done very well in tournaments or in super matches, but we haven't sort of seen them all line up against each other. And for these guys to be in a tournament position where we can potentially see some of these dream matchups is absolutely outstanding. And let me just tell you the athletes we've got in this. It's an invitation-only tournament with the winner walking away with the AWE heavyweight belt, which Ryan Bowen is the current holder of, but he will be putting it up because he is one of the 8 competitors in the tournament. So Ryan Bowen will be in the tournament. We've got Matawarengi Heta Morris coming all the way over from New Zealand, the absolute giant mega superstar over there, and hasn't been beaten in over 10 years. He did a fantastic performance here in AWE number 2 against the legendary Todd Hutchings, and he was the Intercontinental Champion, having beaten Ryan Bowen at AWE 1. So he will also be featured in this 8-man tournament. So we've got Ryan Bowen, we've got Matawarengi Heta Morris, we've also got Australian legend Brett Coots, who's recently come back to the arm wrestling scene after sort of focusing on bodybuilding for a little while, but he's all in on arm wrestling at this point in time, having competed in AWE T-Series 1 and doing a fantastic job taking out the left hand overall and coming second to Lockwood Carpenter in the right arm. And he also had 2 super matches at T-Series 2 where he defeated Taron Broad on the right arm and Bowen Contado, a rising contender, on the left arm. So Brett is doing phenomenal things. Again, he's on his rise. He's on his way back to the top of the arm wrestling ranks. Unfortunately, he did have a bit of an injury at the T-Series 2 to his pec, and we're hoping that he will be completely healed and ready to go. It will probably, by the time the tournament rolls around, it would be around 3 months, so he should be ready to go and 100% for that tournament. But he is an absolute killer, and it's great to have him back on the scene. We've also got Andy Boskovsky, who is again another guy who's fully committed again to arm wrestling. He's actually a doctor full-time. It took some time off to focus on uni to make sure that he got all of his study completed. That is all done now, and he is qualified, and now he's heading back to the arm wrestling table, and he is creating a storm. Recently this week he has taken out Jordan Davis in a super match very comfortably. He had a 4-0 win, and they even did a bonus round where Andy said, well, let me see if I can beat you in a top roll. And although Jordan did get a slip, that was basically a pin. So Andy looking in fine form, and he'll be the lightest guy in this tournament. So it's an 8-man tournament. Andy just sitting around the 100 kilo mark. I think he's just under 100 kilos. And he'll be the lightest guy by quite a significant margin. And it'd be amazing to see how he goes in this tournament. But he is the dark horse for sure. The best thing about this, and the reason I'm excited about it, is that any one of these guys legitimately has a chance to win this tournament. We've also got Ryan Scott, the milkman. He's coming over from Perth. And we haven't seen a lot of Ryan Scott compete the last couple of years. COVID has caused some issues, and obviously travel and the vaccination stuff, and he had some injuries as well. Most recent super match that he sort of featured in was where he faced Ryan Bowen. It was supposed to be Lachlan Adair, but COVID caused some problems with that, and it ended up being Ryan Bowen at the last minute. But the Milkman is a multiple-time national champion, and he is the perfect style for tournament arm wrestling. He has a fantastic setup game and an incredibly fast flash pin style, so he could potentially walk through the first couple of rounds and still be very fresh going into the later rounds in the tournament. So he is another guy that you could say, well, yeah, I could see him winning this. We've also got Lachlan Carpenter, who is on a tear lately. He is the rising superstar in the arm wrestling scene here in Australia. He has taken out some big names, and he's looking stronger and bigger every single time I see this man. We had the T-Series 2 tournament up in Brisbane recently, and there was only about 2 months between when I had seen him at T-Series 1 and then T-Series 2, about 2 month period. When I walked into the room where he was, I was like, he looks like he's put 30% size on. He was so much bigger. He was fired up. He was ready to go, and he took out that T-Series 2 tournament very comfortably. As I said before, pinning Ryan Bowen twice on the right arm and never looking in danger. He is on a tear lately, and he's very focused, very committed to his arm wrestling career, and he will be a force to be reckoned with in this tournament. We've also got Rickert Bornman, who is the South African junior sensation, only 20 years old, but 120 kilos and just an absolute weapon. This man's wrists are so thick already at 20 years old, and he's an absolute powerhouse and a very, very fiery competitor. You can see that he loves to compete. He's a professional rugby player. Originally came over to Australia for rugby purposes, but sort of we managed to sneak him away and get him into the arm wrestling scene, and he's been doing tremendous things, and has actually walked away with some big results in the national amateur titles. So he'll be another dark horse in this as well. We've also got Gunter Bykovs, another Australian multiple time heavyweight champion, and he recently had a match against Ryan Bowen at the T-Series 1 in Adelaide. Unfortunately, wasn't able to win that one, but Gunter's is one of those guys that has the ability to win any match, has the experience and the commitment, and he is just an absolute classic genetic athlete. I mean, this man stands at 6'5" or something, and 120, 130 kilos all year round, looking lean, despite whether he's training or not. But he has been training. He had a little bit of an injury a few months before the Ryan Bowen match, so it's probably been 6 months since then that this walking into this tournament, that he'll be should be ready to go. But Gunter Bykovs, you can never ever count Gunter's out, and he is another guy who you could say, no, actually, Gunter's he could win that as well. So we've got an absolute stellar lineup there. I'm just making sure that we've got all the guys covered. Yes, so we'll just go through that list very quickly. So Andy Boskovsky, Brett Coots, Matawarengi Hannah Morris, Ryan Scott, Ryan Bowen, Lachlan Carpenter, and Gunter Bykovs and Rickert Bornman. So an absolute stellar lineup for this 8-man invitational. It's double elimination. It will be taking place on April the 13th, and we'll be doing it up in Brisbane. And so, yes, we'll be very excited to bring you that. You'll see it on the AWE YouTube channel. And if you're interested in any of the stuff that we've got going on, we've got some great sponsors. We've got Real Estate Agents Group for Dave Stockbridge, the legendary man himself, also a co-owner of the AWE. We've got the Bad Bears there on the sleeve. But these shirts are available to purchase, and they are at www.awearmwrestling.com, and you can find out all the information about all the athletes and the upcoming events on that, as well as you can find us on Instagram and Facebook. It's AWE Arm Wrestling. If you just type it in, we'll be the ones that come up. You'll see this logo. So very excited about this event, and can't wait to see it. We'll bring you more news as it comes out. Thanks a lot.